Thank you, Dr. Mrs. Awele Elumelu. I'm sure you have gained further insights into the Tony Elumelu Foundation. She says whether you are become an entrepreneur out of passion or out of necessity, but make sure that you do not forget that you must incorporate social good into whatever it is that you do. And particularly, she reached out to the female entrepreneurs that you need to take up the challenge. We will continue to talk about the Tony Elumelu Foundation to gain further insights on the Tony Elumelu Foundation, the Entrepreneurship program. And even though she doesn't like me to say this, but if one person can be described as the mother of entrepreneurs in Africa, is no other person than the person who drives the Tony Elumelu Foundation. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to call on the CEO of the Tony Elumelu Foundation, Mrs. Paminda Veer, to come and talk to us. Paminda is very passionate about Africa. She's an accomplished filmmaker. She's an expert in private equity funding for fame. But all that is in the past now. She is our CEO. A round of applause again for Paminda.
Thank you. So, guys, wow, welcome. What an amazing speech, huh? How do you follow that? A mother, a professional, an entrepreneur, raising 7 children. So those women and men who say you can't have it all,
opportunities.
Look at
There's
her
no better
as an
time
example.
than
We can have it all. She is extraordinary in her passion for the Tony Elumelu Foundation and her support as a trustee. I've been in this job for 2 years. We in the foundation, the small but mighty team, could not do it without the unconditional love and support that we receive from Mrs. Elumelu and obviously Mr. Elumelu. So thank you. Okay, I am not as organized as Dr. Elumelu, who came here and was very composed. We are going to start with I'm a filmmaker, and amongst people out here, and one of the things you've been doing as entrepreneurs is how do you tell your business story? Well, and what tools do you use to tell your business story? For me, one of the biggest tools is tell it through film, either through pictures, through infographics, or to a video. So I want to roll with a 2-minute trailer of a film that we made of last year's entrepreneurship program, 2015, and you will be able to see the full film tomorrow. Guess what? We have had over 1 million people watch this film on YouTube. So it's a 30-minute story of the journey that we took as entrepreneurs ourselves, the Tony Elumelu Foundation, when it embarked on launching the craziest, the biggest program on planet Earth, never mind Africa, called the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program on the 1st of January 2015. And that it charts the journey of that 1 year, the lessons that we learned, and the challenges that we encountered, but most importantly, the extraordinary spirit and energy that we touched amongst the Tony Elumelu entrepreneurs who applied and who were selected. So can we roll with that 2-minute trailer, please?
Africa is a land of opportunities. There's no better time than this moment to be and become an entrepreneur in Africa.
I'm from Ghana. My business is in the IT sector.
I'm the founder of Great Fresh Foods, which is a company that aims to promote healthy lifestyle in Africa.
I am committing $100 million to support the next generation of African entrepreneurs. The program represents a decade-long commitment to support 10,000 African entrepreneurs and startups.
I've been mentoring 5 mentees. People will be developing businesses and creating jobs, which is badly needed in Africa.
When someone says, this is impossible, reply with 2 sentences. 1, nothing is impossible. 2, impossible only takes longer.
I want to charge you all in your own little ways to become like little Elumelus. Your creativity, innovation, talent, and most importantly, strength of character is our future. I'm sure that your countries and our continent will be safe in your hands.
Just focus on creating value, because anytime you focus on creating value, you are attracting capital.
I had a dream to connect with our African brothers and sisters, and you have made this dream come true.
And to me, it's about legacy. Put yourself in my position and working in my old age at 80, for instance, and I visit Zambia, and someone says, I own this financial institution. I got $10,000 from a certain man from Nigeria called Tony Elumelu. That's how I started. That's my ambition.
Now we can customize our product for, the Pan-African market. So we're going home, we're going big.
I believe that the seed we plant today through the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program will help to develop Africa in the future.
Filmmaker, not one of these. And Richard, come up here. Ha! It works. Okay. So my job, all of you think of the Tony Elumelu Foundation and think of the entrepreneurship program. That is just one activity of the program. It is its flagship program. But you must see the foundation as a whole. And what I want to take you through is the foundation was set up in October 2010. So this month, in fact, I think tomorrow, it will be 6 years old. And we are amazing. So as a 6-year-old child, we're still very curious, right? And we're still exploring. And we don't want to grow old and senile. And that's what I love about the foundation. It's phenomenal energy. It's can-do. Nothing is impossible, as our leader, Tony Elumelu, will tell you. So I want to take you through some of the amazing innovations that we have done on our business called the Tony Elumelu Foundation. Our enterprise, the Tony Elumelu Foundation, in the same way that you will be innovating on your businesses now that you have been through the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program, the 7 pillars of the program. And it's really to share with you all the other elements so that you will go away and see the foundation as a whole, and you will go away and see your role, your fundamental role in driving our foundation and supporting our foundation. Oh, why doesn't it take word? Okay. So one of the amazing things that we did achieve, Mr. Elumelu set me a task, go build a brand, Tony Elumelu, for the foundation and for the entrepreneurship program. I came in as a director of the entrepreneurship program. So of course I was only concerned about the program. And we developed, as you recall, TEF, the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program. We are changing our brand. We're rethinking our brand. So the program itself began to dominate the brand of the foundation. And you as enterprise owners will know you cannot allow one element of your brand to dominate your main brand. So we've looked at how do we realign the foundation with its flagship program, which has been a runaway hit. If this was a feature film, the Tony Elumelu Foundation's entrepreneurship program would have won Oscars. So the forum that you are at, the Tony Elumelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Forum, it is the Entrepreneurship Forum. No longer are we using the term boot camp or any other term. Last year we dubbed it as boot camp. The nice thing about being an entrepreneur is you keep learning and you keep pivoting. So similarly, that is exactly what we're doing. Sorry, I need to go back to that other slide. I think the second thing is, as I said, TEF is no longer. You want to talk about the program, you refer to it as either in full, the Tony Elumelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Program, or you refer to it as TEF Entrepreneurship Program. No longer are we using the term TEF. We have alumni and partners, so it's the TEF. Do you see what we're doing? We're positioning the foundation at the start of everything else that we are doing. We all know about our seed capital, so it's TEF Entrepreneurship Capital Management. The TEF Entrepreneurship Hub, I will talk to you more about that through my presentation, is the go-to technology platform that we are building, where the thousands of entrepreneurs that are going through this program will be able to meet. It's the Facebook of African entrepreneurship. The research and advocacy is the Tony Elumelu Foundation's research and advocacy, and I will go through. So please change everything that you have written about around using the terms TEF and start using these terms to refer to the Tony Elumelu Foundation. And you as the entrepreneurs are the Tony Elumelu entrepreneurs. That's what you are. You're not TEPers, you're not TEF, you're not TEs, you're not anything else but the Tony Elumelu entrepreneurs. I hope that's clear, right? Okay, guys, next. Okay. So 45,000 of you applied from 54 African countries. 1,000 were selected. We could easily have selected 3,000. Clearly, the standard of application was phenomenal. It's increased. Clearly, many of the 2015 shared their experiences with many of the 2016 who were applying. Clearly, the message that this is a Pan-African multilingual program did really get through. Clearly, above all, that women entrepreneurs, you have every right in the same way as men to come to the portal and make applications. Last year, 26% of our applicants that we selected were women entrepreneurs. This year, 36%. And we know we will, without social engineering, all the stuff that happens around diversity, etc., in other parts of the world, we know we will achieve 50-50. Why? Because women drive the economies of Africa. And the beautiful thing is that women were selected on the basis of the feasibility of their ideas, the market opportunity that they've really made a case for their ideas, their financial understanding, the scalability, above all, their leadership and entrepreneurial skills. So there was no, let's give women a handout, right? I mean, let's give women a special compensation. What they needed was for us, what we did do was to develop marketing and communication collateral to really talk directly to those women entrepreneurs. In the first years, the women came in equal numbers to men. But what was extraordinary is they got halfway through the application and said, you know what, this is not for me, and did not complete the application. Those who did forgot to submit it because no doubt they were occupied with other things. But that changed, yeah? For the 45,000, again, equal number of women come to the portal, make the application. And we made sure that we were with them as they were applying. And wherever we saw that they were experiencing any challenges, we intervened. We did not help them to complete their application. We did not help them to give them business ideas. We simply facilitated their process through the application. We will continue to do that so that women and men across Africa are equal in numbers in terms of the entrepreneurial class that we are building. Who said agriculture was sexy for young people? Well, African young demographics think so, right? I get tired of going to meetings from the multilaterals and development agencies who sort of say, who give you the statistics, 60% of the world's arable land is in Africa, right? And you know what? We must get we must get more Africans to return to the land. But if you come to Africa, you realize Africans have never left the land, right? And what I found amazing is that PhD holders, 3-degree holders, graduates, postgraduates, are amongst our agriculture entrepreneurs. 26%, 27% of our entrepreneurs on the 2016 program, and similarly in the 2015 program, are, guess what? Agri-entrepreneurs. Who are the agri-entrepreneurs in the audience? Right! These guys are going to feed Africa and they're going to feed the world. These guys are going to make sure that the multinational agri-businesses they're going to make sure that be aware, entrepreneurs, right? You're in the supply chain from farm to fork, right? But be aware, the world is watching this land, yeah? And agriculture is the next oil in Africa. And what we have to do is to make sure that we train every year and we empower and we provide seed capital every year to 20, 30, 40% agri-entrepreneurs and health entrepreneurs and education entrepreneurs, etc., etc. It's really, really critical. So in terms of agriculture still dominates, ICT is the next big sector. Fashion, the creative industries is another growth sector across the African continent. Education and training, all the entrepreneurs are recognizing the importance of building their own education institution, online, vocational training, as well as academic in terms of education. 2 areas of capital flight, or 3 areas actually, capital flight out of Africa, which horrifies me, is health tourism. And it's really good to see businesses like Avon really taking that on. And more of the health entrepreneurs in our program must go and build the health institutions in Africa. India benefits phenomenally from your sickness in Africa. Do you realize that? Phenomenally, right? China benefits from it importing secondhand shoes, secondhand clothes into the African continent. The president of Uganda shared a terrifying statistic with us when we met him. That $190 million are spent in China importing secondhand clothes and secondhand shoes. This is a country that has 40 million cows. What's it doing importing secondhand shoes, right? So entrepreneurs, you are the solution to keeping that capital in the country. Sorry, this is not in my speech, I'm just getting carried away. Okay. So what should be your takeaways? I forget I have to do 3 things here. Okay, guys, okay, next slide, please. Thank you. So what should be your what can you expect from this format? Come on, you're here to build networks. Networking for us as entrepreneurs is we're either dead or alive. We cannot succeed, we cannot sustain ourselves, we cannot be entrepreneurs if we don't have networks and if we don't leverage those networks, yeah? So when I asked the 2015 entrepreneurs, what was your takeaway? The number one thing they say is the networks that they build. So a Zambian entrepreneur is now doing business with an entrepreneur based in Calabar. A Calabar entrepreneur is doing business with an entrepreneur based in Morocco. We have built the biggest, you are building the biggest network of African entrepreneurs and African businesses. You are here, all of you, to build those networks and to build those potential business relationships. You're here to engage peer-to-peer engagement. And you're here to, really learn from each other, knowledge exchange, right? Because it is that, entrepreneurship is teachable and learnable. And actually, we don't need other people. The best people that we learn from are other entrepreneurs. If I was health entrepreneurs, I'd be really mobbing Dr. Alumelu to get lowdown of how she set up her business. What are some of the challenges that she encountered? More importantly, what are the solutions, yeah? What we found in 2015 was one entrepreneur would pose a problem on the mentor learning platform. 10 would give him or her a solution. That is how you build, how you can use your network. So you're here to network and build those networks. You're here also to obviously learn from those who've been through the baptism of fire. And you will meet a lot of those established, so-called, established entrepreneurs. But remember, in front of that, I'm really calm and cool entrepreneur and I've succeeded is someone who's totally terrified when they go home. Because every day, no matter how big your business grows, there's always a challenge and you're to do it. But above all, you're also here to have fun. It's a long way to travel. You're here for 2 days, and there's a lot of activities. You have a packed agenda, and you're to leverage every moment of that agenda. But while at doing that, for you to also have fun, yeah? So you may be wondering, what is a 5-foot Indian doing running the Tony Elumelu Foundation? I get, Mr. Elumelu gets asked those questions, which is, why are you giving away $100 million? You're so young, and you could be doing better things with it. I get asked the question, what the hell brought you to Nigeria? Do they pay you? Is it safe? And I sort of always I turn around and say, look, I'm still standing, right? So it's safe to be in Lagos. But really, what is it? And it's really, I'm an entrepreneur. Like Dr. Elumelu, my sector is it's more the glamorous sector. I worked in the media and entertainment sector for 30 years. That's where I ran and built films, my production companies, etc. So the foundation, film to foundation was a bit of a leap, yeah? And you might be wondering, how the hell, what was it about filmmaking that, that is transferable to running foundation and running the entrepreneurship program? But since April 2014, Lagos in Nigeria has been my home, thanks to my family and my husband who have made it possible. And the foundation has become my mission, is my mission and my passion. And in terms of making the transition from film to the foundation, we are all, as entrepreneurs, what are we doing is we're learning skills. We're building what I call a suitcase full of skills and knowledge, which you can transfer across the world, but also across the sectors, yeah? And I guess that's what I have done, is literally to transfer my filmmaking experience. And the nice thing about making films is nothing is impossible, because you have to make it happen, yeah? What was it that made me take that leap into the unknown? It was the founder's vision, his mission, and his passion for Africa. But above all, it was when I read his white paper on Afro-capitalism, and I heard in that a different approach to the development of Africa. I was tired of reading stuff from the IMF, the World Bank, etc., who all have solutions for Africa. But here was this man, a self-made man, an African, born in Africa, who hadn't been to Cambridge, Oxford, or Harvard, who hadn't left Nigeria. Who'd made his money in Nigeria and was now espousing an economic philosophy, an idea. an idea that it was worth spreading from my point of view. The idea of Afri-capitalism and economic philosophy, which he says, where private sector leaders like him, and there are hundreds others across Africa, must lead in the development of Africa. And that Africa needs an economic revolution and liberation now. And it is the private sector, like the Tony Elumelus, and like you, the entrepreneurs in the room, and the 1,000 from 2015, and the 10,000 of you by the, in 10 years. It is you who will drive this continent. And that's what I was attracted to that. I was also attracted, having been involved in anti-racist fights and fighting for justice and equality in the UK around equal opportunity and diversity, around gender, around race. I was also intrigued by his two words, institutionalizing luck and democratizing opportunity. And I thought, wow, what a real profound and all-encompassing way of saying, I'm going to find ways of institutionalized luck, that luck that I received as a young man at the age of 26 when I was promoted to being a manager of a bank. I mean, can you imagine? And really make it and democratize that and make it and have the vision to take that to across Africa as an Africanist. And above all, obviously, I connected with his entrepreneurial spirit. I'm an entrepreneur. He's a brilliant businessman. I'm a lousy businesswoman. But I have learned more from him in the 2 years that I've been in his shadows or under the shade of his tree, and wish I had met him 20 years ago. I might have been taking over Warner Brothers or something. But really, so what are my expectations, yeah? I mean, in terms of in the last 2 years, I came with expectations, which was really to provide an operational structure around his vision. As Mr. Elumelu will tell us, you can have ideas, but you've got to then operationalize and ground those ideas. I thought 6 months, I produce the framework, and then I'll be back in London. And then he said, no, but now you've got to implement this plan. So a year later, and now the second year. Hopefully, I haven't got an exit strategy. He won't let me have an exit strategy. So my expectations from the program was really that we created a format. I'm a filmmaker and television. We talk about formats that last, yeah, that you can replicate. But here is a format which is long-term, which is sustainable, which is scalable, and which is replicable, yeah? So it's a program, this format called the 7 Pillars of the Entrepreneurship Program is something we can repeat every year. It is private sector led. Would I have considered doing this if some government official had come to me and said, come and run this program? Absolutely not. We are leveraging the Hares Holdings Group's of investment approach and experience of the funder in training our entrepreneurs. Even if you're a social entrepreneur, as I met one yesterday, do not talk about grants. We are not funding, we are not a grant-giving body. Am I clear about that? You do not use the word grant when you talk about the Tony Elumelu Foundation or the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program. So our approach is one of investment, and our investment in you is through training, through mentoring, through, the isolated, or the elephant in the room is the isolated entrepreneur. And what have we done? We've taken you out of your isolation. You have 1,000 entrepreneurs that you can be talking to. Where else can you find that useful network? I know WhatsApp and the Facebooks, the useless chats that go on. But where else can you go for useful information? But here. We built a Pan-African brand, guys. In 2 years, the Tony Elumelu Foundation, the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program is on par with every other brand, and it is known across Africa. And above all, in the 2 years, and this is building on the 4 years of work that has been done by people like Owen and others in building the foundation. We have put the foundation and the entrepreneurship program on the global map. You know, I've lost sight of my slides, of course. Sorry. So this is what you can expect. Okay, can we, you all know the 7 pillars of the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program. Hands up those of you who completed the 12-week program. You shouldn't be here if you haven't. So don't wait. Hands up those who've submitted their business plans. Hands up those who thought it was easy to do a business plan for the Tony program. Hands up those who had a fantastic experience with their mentor. And those wished, my God, the mentor was never around. So I'm glad we threw some challenges in your path. Okay, but about mentors, you learned that the online mentor is just one resource. But what you learned from the mentoring is that mentoring and mentors are important. So now you will go and find mentors around your business and around your business ideas, yeah? Hands up those who resubmitted their business plan after having received the most amazing feedback on why their business plan was not ready. So you are now all waiting for the seed capital. And it is a seed capital. It is not a grant, right? So we as the foundation, we are taking a risk with you, 1,000 of you, right? We've already invested. And the way we designed the program was that we recognize it's not money you need. There is no shortage of money in Africa, by the way, entrepreneurs, let me tell you that. What there is a shortage of are investable opportunities like you, right? Opportunities who are prepared, who are organized, who can make a compelling business case as to why I as an angel, Mr. Elumelu as a banker, or Dr. Elumelu might want to partner with another health organization. Why are you a compelling business proposition, yeah? That you have a business plan, that you have people in your business who are going to execute. Most fundamentally, you have paying customers. You have paying clients that you've already booked in your business, yeah? That is what investors are looking for. And what we are doing in the program that we've designed is to make sure that we took a holistic approach to developing our entrepreneurs. The rest is up to you. We as entrepreneurs, we're not victims, all right? Yeah? We don't need, we're not needy people. We have the ingenuity to find the answers. You had that. You found out about the Tony Elumelu Foundation. You made the application. You applied. You got selected. But you got selected because you took seriously your decision, your crazy decision to be an entrepreneur, as opposed to remaining in your professional jobs. I know, having read a lot of your application, that many of you have given up lucrative jobs as a result of being accepted on the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program, and have now dedicated 100% of your time to running your business. I think what I want to say, and this is a lesson that you all should take away from us. Next slide, please. Okay. Next slide. Okay. So one of the key things that we have used, and you must, amongst you are 2 types of entrepreneurs. Those that are tech entrepreneurs, and those who are using technology as an enabling tool. We recognize that if we were going to communicate with 54 African countries, with entrepreneurs in all of those countries, we needed to leverage the technology. Hands up, you've all experienced the mentor learning platform, right? Isn't it an amazing platform? Right. So we were renting that platform. You all experienced the application process. It was seamless, right? Come on, it was seamless, right? It will get even more seamless. But for us, technology is fundamental to the success and sustainability of the foundation and its program. In Nigeria, did you know there are technology is becoming a big driver. 8 million Facebook users in Nigeria alone, 118 million smartphones, 226 million across Africa. So Africa is leapfrogging technology. The foundation is part of that leapfrog. We are absolutely on that technology curve. Digital technology is impacting our 2,000 Tony Elumelu entrepreneurs, who are either tech entrepreneurs or you are using technology to enable your business. Over the last 2 years, like you, we've been innovating, and one of the biggest innovation is the creation of the Tony Elumelu Foundation Technology Hub. It will be known as TEF Hub. It is becoming the go-to platform in Africa for research, for discussions amongst the entrepreneurs that we are supporting, the value chain partnerships, funding, etc. And I'll go through that. And guess what? This technology, we didn't outsource it to China or to my beloved country, India. We outsourced it to developers in Nigeria. So the hub is the place where please do not set up, or you can if you want to. You can go ahead and set up your own little networks. But if you really want to be in on what the foundation, the additional ongoing resources and support that you're going to need as entrepreneurs, if you want to be a part of that, you have to be registered on our technology hub, right? On the TEF hub. This is where you will be facilitated beyond your graduation. I also just want to touch on the phenomenal work, next slide. So this is, the technology hub is also a way of connecting all aspects of the foundation's work. These slides, I will share these slides with you guys later. I think what I just want to pause and talk about our marketing and communication. I told you how we really increased the number of women applications, how we speak across Africa. And it's, marketing. There are 3 things that are really important for Mr. Elumelu. Finance, obviously, he's a money man. Human resources, he knows every single person who he's ever employed in any of the company. So human resources and the quality and the skills of those people are really, really important. Marketing and communication is the 3rd big important thing. We in the foundation have really leveraged every medium from the traditional as well as the digital in terms of communicating the foundation story, communicating your stories. Hands up all of you who've been reading the stories that we're posting of the 2015 entrepreneurs. So all of you, because it will be your stories starting now that we will begin to promote on our website, right? So technology, so using marketing and communication in terms of not...
We know that you're comfortable in your seats, but we want to be able to optimize the hall properly. So please, all those at the back, from the last row, please, let's do this quickly so we can get the program started. All those at the back row, please come to the front. Please come to the front. Please. Binta, please help see from the passage that everybody should move to the front. Thank you. Come this way. Come this way. Don't go this way. Just come to this row. There are some empty seats in the front here. Thank you. Thank you very much. There are no reserved seats. So just sit in any available or empty seat in front of you. Thank you. Thank you. Please come this way. Plenty of spaces here. Madam, please come. See, the space is here. Please. Thank you. There are no reserved seats. The gentleman wearing blue. Yes. That's the cutoff point. Thank you. Okay, we also want to do the same thing for this row, please. From the back, please come to the front. The madam with the gray t-shirt will direct you where to sit down. There are seats in the front here. Please come to the front. Thank you. Let's do this quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, we also want those on the back row to move over to the front from here. Hello? There are some seats here. You can move as well to the next row in your front. Thank you as you do that. There are no reserved seats. Deshola, your seat is gone. So you have to find the next available seat. There are no reserved seats. Thank you. Thank you. There's a special program planned for our friends from the media. So if you're a journalist, please go to the media center. If you're a journalist here, go to the media center. Our journalists, our friends from Africa, the ones from Lagos, from Abuja, all over Nigeria. We still have some empty seats here, in the front here. Okay. Hello? Hello? Okay, we're ready to go. Let me welcome you back again from lunch. I hope lunch was good. Okay, we're expecting the same level of participation that we've seen all morning as we get into the second segment of the program today. Agriculture is key to the efforts of government to diversify the Nigerian economy and indeed most economies across Africa. Interestingly, a lot of our young people are beginning to invest in agriculture. I know at the time in Nigeria, if you said you were a farmer, people will look at you, differently. Now, it's interesting that we've made farming a cool business to invest in. Before we get into the next program, which is building successful African businesses, where you get to hear from some of our speakers who have built successful businesses in Africa. We thought we'd spend a little time. I know how to. We'll spend a little time to talk about agriculture in Nigeria. We have a gentleman from the Nigerian incentive-based risk-sharing system for agriculture lending. This organization is doing a lot to de-risk Wow. There's some discussion ongoing. Okay. All right, it's all about the entrepreneurs, and then we will make the adjustments that we can make to give the best to our entrepreneurs. We were going to talk about agriculture, but we'll defer that for a short while. You'll get to hear, and I think it's an interesting presentation that you need to listen to find out how this organization is helping to de-risk agriculture in Nigeria. And I'm sure our colleagues from across Africa would also have one or two things to learn from that. I'd like to just quickly call on the moderator for the next session, which is building successful African entrepreneurs. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Mrs. Nimi Akinkugbe. Nimi Akingugbe is going to moderate the session. She's the CEO of Best Man Games. How many of us know about the game called Monopoly? How many of us know about Monopoly? Her organization has the rights to Monopoly in Nigeria and across Africa. And she's doing quite a lot to promote the game called Monopoly. You know, these days with the distractions with social media, you know, families don't have enough time to bond together. So perhaps Monopoly is a game that the family would play and, you know, find time to spend together. She's also a finance expert. She's done quite a lot writing on personal finance. I know a lot of us who read the Punch newspapers would have read one or two things written by Nimi Akingugbe. She would introduce the panelists, and then we'll get down to business. A round of applause once again. Nimi.
Am I on? Okay, fantastic. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nigeria. It's just great to have you all here, and congratulations once again for being selected this year out of thousands and thousands of people. It's just great to have you here. Now, I won't spend much time because we just want to get into it. We've got some fantastic panelists here, so I want to introduce Neku briefly. Neku Atawodi is the General Manager for the Meltwater Entrepreneurial School of Technology, MEST, a not-for-profit that invests in and trains African entrepreneurs, but she will spend some time telling you exactly what she does there. She is also the first ever black female polo player. How about that? You come up. Neku, please come up. We also have Audu Maikori, Nigerian lawyer, entrepreneur, social activist, public speaker. He's the president of Chocolate City Entertainment. Is that the other side? Yes, that's fine. Now, what I'd like to do is just spend a bit of time having our panelists introduce themselves in terms of exactly what they do, so you can learn. The idea is for us to learn as much as we can. We know what it's like setting up business on this continent, the challenges, the opportunities, and there's no better people to tell us what they've been through to build what they're doing right now. It's quite interesting. You've all started out and experienced some of these challenges. So to have practitioners who have a story to tell and a path is great. So we'll start with you. If you just give us 5 minutes of exactly what you do, your journey so far. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Neku. I'm the general manager of MEST. We've just entered Nigeria, so we've been here for 2.5 months now. And what we do is we invest in African entrepreneurs. We take equity, we don't make money from it, and we reinvest whatever we make into African entrepreneurs. So you go into our school, we train you for a year, and then after that, you can pitch your business, and we invest in your ideas. Previously, as Nimi said to you, I was a sports person, and I'm quite passionate about the relationship with sports and entrepreneurship. So I think that a lot of the things that you need to be a successful sports person are what you need to be a successful entrepreneur. So when you fall, get back up, to be passionate, to be resilient, to never give up. Those are what we look for in entrepreneurs, people that want to inspire other people, create jobs for other people, and really just put Africa truly, truly on the map. So thank you for having me, and I look forward to speaking with you all.
Thank you, Neku. Audu, could you give us a bit of what you're doing? Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Are we happy? Are we really, really happy? Well, I'm very happy to be here with some of the brightest minds across Africa. So put your hands together for yourselves. If somebody asks me what I do, I try to find solutions to problems. And if you're an inspiring entrepreneur, that is what your job is. Your job is to find a solution to the problem. Now, if you agree that Africa has got loads of problems, then that means there's a lot of solutions that we need to find, right? And that has always been my approach to things in life. That stop complaining and do something about it. So my story is I'm a lawyer. I'm an amateur painter. I wasn't very successful in music as an artist myself. I was a very terrible artist. So I decided to support those who had the talent. So in 1997, while I was in university, we started a company. It wasn't a company then, it was just something. You know, when you're in university, it's a thing, you know. So it was called Chocolate City then. It was a rave, a nightclub. We used to trick people to come to different venues every Friday, collect money from them, sell them overpriced drinks, and guess the best part, they come back the next week and do the same thing all over again. So that was how it started. And we registered as a company about 11 years ago, and we started off managing artists. A slew of them, MI, Ice Prince, Femi Kuti, Jesse Jaggs, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure some of you probably know some of them. But I don't think that was where we stopped. What we thought was that there was a need to expand that to go across the whole media and entertainment ecosystem. Sorry, I can't really look at you guys because of the microphone. But when I get a longer one, I'll direct my conversations towards you. But what really spurred me into going to the business was the fact that me and my partners, and yes, I do have partners. I started right from the beginning with partners. It's not a one-man dream, okay? And I think that many entrepreneurs think that being an entrepreneur means you're the number one man, the CEO, chairman, chief executive, right? Accountant, secretary, all now you. No, it doesn't work out like that. So we already had a structure. There are three of my partners, two others, Paul Okugo and Yahya Mekwe, my brother. And we decided that we wanted to create a world-class entertainment company that would act locally but have impact globally. And that's what we've been doing for the past 11 years. So I'll talk a bit more about my business in a bit, but thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. Thanks.
Great. I just want to spend a bit more time, Audu, on the whole concept of partnership, because so many entrepreneurs, and I think a major reason why businesses fail is because of this one-man band thing. So you're doing everything. You're putting everything into it. It's so intense. And if anything goes wrong, you can't leave the business. It's just you. So it would be nice for you to sort of expand on how did you go about choosing your partner? Did you know them from before? And also, you know that partnerships do fail. So there have to be structures put in place. There must be structures put in place to ensure that whatever happens, whether it's working or not, the processes are in place to make sure there's no major problem. Tell us a bit more about that. Could we have another microphone, please, to make things flow a bit better? Can you come to this? What about over here? Yeah, so just look at the whole partnership thing, how you have started. It's just you alone, or those of you that have managed to have partners, do you have all the structures in place to ensure that you've got a sustainable business that should outlive you?
Thank you. Well, I think the first thing is, I've been in several panels and people say, why do you have partners and how do you choose your partners? And some people say they've been cheated before. Have you ever been cheated before? Put up your hand. Have you ever cheated before? Nobody's going to put up their hands for that one, clearly. So you see that errors are made and mistakes are made. And they say that the road to hell is paved with the best intentions. But I think one of the things I was privileged to learn, I'm a lawyer, like I said, but I've had a very wide experience. I worked in companies, I worked as a consultant, I worked as a proper litigation lawyer, and also done a lot of things. So that kind of gave me an idea about how things should be structured. So the first thing was that I knew I didn't know it all by myself. So maybe the first lesson is that you need to understand that everybody has the strengths and the weaknesses. So what you do is you look for a partner who has strengths that you don't have. right? Or somebody who complements the weaknesses that you have. So the first partner was a marketing and brand expert. That is Paul. Then my other partner was more of the long-term planner. He was always looking ahead at the big picture. I was a guy who had some of the ideas, but I was the executor. So three of us kind of knew how we would run it together. And it's not been easy. But I think the first thing about partnership is that there needs to be trust. You see, every day we demonstrate trust in the small things. For example, some of you trusted that this thing was going to happen today, right? And it may not have happened. So understanding that there needs to be a blind spot where you cannot be absolutely sure that things will go well is very important in any business. But I also advise that when you're going to a partnership, it is great to also get a good lawyer, like myself, to put together a contract that helps you define the relationship. Because guess what? Visions change. Things change. Now, if you're doing a business and the business is a long-term vision, then you have to think about 10 years. For example, let's say you are a hacker. You do hacking business, right? You hack into websites when you're 25. At 35, you can't be hacking websites, man. You probably have children. I imagine your son walking up to you and say, Dad, what are you doing? You're like, I'm hacking websites. You can't do that. So obviously what you want to do is be able to create a document that kind of reviews your relationship over time. It's very important. And I'll tell you a story. There's a time very recently, not very, very, very recently, but recently, that we had issues with paying the salaries of the staff, and I was out of the country. So I was, you know, if you work somewhere on the 29th and the 30th, they're very expectant, right? You're waiting to see an alert, right? In my case, we're dreading to see the alert, because the alert is a debit, not a credit, most times. You know, so I'm just thinking, I was like, how am I going to pay these guys, you know? There was a problem with some of the payments, and I called one of my partners and said, hey, we need to sort out the salaries. He said, oh, we already sorted it out, it's paid. If you know what they mean by a huge sigh of relief, you know when you didn't sleep the night, you were thinking, how am I going to pay? And I think that is what partnership does, is that you're sharing the burden. The other point I want to quickly make is about the pie, about baking a bigger pie. One of the problems that we find in Nigeria and in Africa generally, and even, let's just say Africa generally, is that people think that they want to own 100% of the pie. I've had young people walk up to me and say, sir, can you give me 10 million naira for 5% of my business? I'm like, how much is your business worth? It's going to make a lot of money. Yes, but how much is business worth right now? Because you see, sometimes you have to give up something to get something that is bigger eventually. If you're thinking short term, you're saying, my business is a $100 million business, so what? I'm going to sell 10% shares at 10 million naira. $10 million, sorry, right? But meanwhile, you need $10 million to start the business in the first place. You just have this fancy idea. So one of the reasons why partnerships make sense is think about co-location. Imagine that you needed to pay rent now and you could partner with 3 people to split that rent. Electricity fees, bills, furniture, internet. Think about those operational things. So there is an advantage to partnering, and I would say even though you can get hurt, it's safer to go together than to go alone.
I think there's some very important points here, especially for many African countries are going through some challenges now. So you're finding your costs are going up, particularly in Nigeria. For the Nigerian entrepreneurs here, you're going through a lot of such issues. This is a good time to consider these sorts of things in terms of joining forces, cutting back on your costs with office space and everything you need as an entrepreneur. Another point that Audu made that I found really interesting, I just like to see a raise of hands. How many of you have ever worked in a structured environment before you became entrepreneurs? Oh, that's pretty great. Great. I really do believe that experience, he was a lawyer for a while, he was in a leasing company, he was in a structured corporate environment. It gives you so much experience before you set out on your own. It gives you the confidence as well. I was a banker for 23 years before I set up my business, and I don't think I could have done this without having had that structured and environment with the corporate governance in place, accounts and human resources, everything in place. It makes it so much easier to organize your business. Now let's turn to Neku. Neku studied I can't pronounce the word. Equestrian science. So she has a degree in equestrian science. She was a professional polo player. Now, many entrepreneurs come into business because they were trying to solve a problem that they identified. So I'd like you to tell us about that problem and what made you do what you were doing.
So before I speak about that, I just want to touch on partnerships, because I use sports analogies for everything. And I'm sure everyone here, or some people, play some sort of sport. And for us, it's very difficult to not think about a team. Even if it's a tennis player and it's one guy playing, there's still the coach, there's the ball boy. And I think with picking partners, what's most important for me is, if I pass you the ball, will you take it to goal? Can I do something else? Can I mark a man while you're doing that? Or will I do all the work and pass you the ball and then you drop it? So I think like with choosing a partner, it's the same thing with trust, is can you trust them to do that? So yes, I was a polo player till about a year ago, and I wanted to come back to Nigeria. It's addictive to want to come back home and make a difference. And I came back and figured that I couldn't play professional polo here because there's not a lot of money. And so I wanted to build a polo club. And I know that my sport is quite unconventional, so I raised quite a bit of money myself, and then I went to the banks the first time to try to get a loan. And I was told that it's 29% interest rate, and I was like, that's ridiculous. Like, you would never pay that back. You have to make so much money to pay that back. And I started speaking with entrepreneurs, and they're like, what, you had no idea? I'm like, no. They're like, yeah, it's 29%. Banks are not an option. And in Nigeria, you find that VCs and PEs are able to negotiate more with you because they have all the power. In any other country, you can get a loan when you have a viable business for 4% or less, or sometimes even no interest rate. But here, the risk factor is so high. And so we wanted to build something to help entrepreneurs. What did I say? Thank you. We wanted to build something to help entrepreneurs. Then I was part of the World Economic Forum, and so we were working with a lot of young people. A lot of my peers are doing businesses, and you have a really strong business, and if you scale it, you hire more people. And really, the government should know that that's a no-brainer to solve the issue of a lack of jobs. So seeing so many entrepreneurs here is incredibly inspiring, because this is how we're going to help our continent. And so we decided to look into crowdfunding, which equity crowdfunding. We started a platform called Malike, and I have no experience in finance, but this is a key thing with partnerships, because my partner was from Ernst & Young and is a brilliant finance person. I was better at meeting HNIs and getting them to invest in impact investing. And we were only focused on socially conscious businesses, so businesses that help to hire people, businesses that actively hit the sustainable development goals. And so from trying to build a polo club, I ended up building a finance company. And that was the struggle, that I was just really frustrated with the fact that young people can't, and they have good businesses, they have good numbers, and it's still really difficult to raise money, and it doesn't sound very fair. So sometimes when you're frustrated with something, just come up with something to solve it yourself.
Fantastic. Now, for many of our entrepreneurs, this is a major option for them, crowdfunding, which maybe they haven't thought about that. So it'd be nice if you just tell us a bit more about how that would work. You know, just how you want, that's the way you want to raise finance. What should they do? What are the sort of ABC steps to do this with your business in a fundraise?
So I think an important thing is you're pitching to investors. So when we were doing Malike is now headed by my COO. But when we were doing Malike, we would get a lot of business ideas, and you're asking someone to put their money in something that's still in your head, and that's difficult. So I always say, you know, get some traction first. Prove that your business is an investable business. I personally would like to invest in businesses that are looking to scale. So I'm doing really well in Lagos, but I want to scale to Abuja, to Kano. that's more, encouraging for someone to want to put their money and back you. So we did due diligence. We would want to know how much are you making, how many people would you hire. We were focused on impact investing because I think that that's the key way to solve many of Africa's issues. But there's many crowdfunding platforms internationally, maybe not so focused on Africa. We were a bit ahead of our time because we had money moving from Nigeria to Mauritius and then to South Africa, and so it got a bit difficult. But be prepared, not just with raising money through crowdfunding, but with raising money with investors, with Ps, with VCs. Do not go with an idea and then this is what I'm going to do, but this is what I am doing, and this is what I can do when you give me your money. So I'm doing this, and this is how I plan to scale. And I think it's a much easier argument to get people to put their money in you, because you have to remember that people have worked for their money and you're asking them, risk it on my idea. So it's like, don't go with ideas. Try and go with tested businesses that show that you've maybe bootstrapped for a bit, you've made some sacrifices, and now this is what you need to get to the next level. And I think that's a better...
And what sort of amounts can people come in? What sort of minimums would people invest in a crowdfunding opportunity?
So we were doing a start of $50,000 to $2 million, just because to service it, it's a lot more difficult when it's smaller amounts, and you find that, I know it's here, it's like 10 grand each, but that runs out really quick. Okay. So it's better to try and raise for, I say try and have your runway go for at least 18 months, because it's going to take about 6 months to prepare to raise money. So don't just burn through the 1 year and then realize I need to raise money, but raise money that can have you go for quite a while, show to your next series of investors that this is what I did with that, this is where I was able to get to, and then it's just a lot easier to do.
This is why it's just so important to have that long-term strategy. You're planning for the next 2-5 years.
Yes, exactly.
A lot of entrepreneurs are very much in the moment and not planning ahead. So you can't seize these opportunities in terms of funding opportunities if you don't know how much you need, how much you're going to need, your growth patterns and so on. Yeah. I'll throw it open to the floor soon, but I'd just like you to each tell me 2 major challenges that you had, if you can remember, and how you navigated them. How did you solve them? You've told us one already in terms of you couldn't get the bank borrowing. So, yeah. But 2 things that you think were a major challenge and how you've got through that. How do you?
I think starting of my business, the first problem I had was nobody believed it was going to work. And I needed to cut the parachute. Can you guys say cut the parachute?
Cut the parachute.
Let's say with some more, You have to cut the parachute because I've always had options. In everything I've done, I've always had...
Is the parachute your parents, or who's the parachute?
So I was... Okay, so...
Who's the parachute?
I was going to make it very flowery, but I guess I should just say it, right? The parachute is that thing that is going to hold you up while you float, okay? But have you heard of the word kamikaze? Right? It's a killer move. You either make it or you die. Right? So what happened was that I used to consult for a Canadian firm, and I was making really good money. And so when I leave work, I'd go back to Chocolate City and be managing. But one day, it just occurred to me that I needed to focus on one thing. I couldn't keep on doing those several things. But you see, my job was a parachute. So I said, you know what? Cut the damn parachute. And just jump. And when I was making the decision, I think it was the worst time I made that decision, because I was just about to get married. And you know when you're getting married in Nigeria, my people know what's going on. So I think it was a dumb decision at that time, but I wanted that parachute gone because it was hit or miss. I said, if I didn't get it, I die. You heard that thing, if I peri, I peri. So that was it. And so people kept on saying it wasn't going to work when I first started, but I believed that it was going to work. Guys, people will tell you at every stage of your life that something is not going to work. They'll tell you that. The solution to that was my belief in self and my belief in God. in that order, not the other way. Some people believe in God more than themselves. No. How can you believe in something greater than you when you don't believe what is you? Do you understand? So you must believe in yourself first, knowing that the person who created you has put so many things into you. So that's the first problem I had. The second problem also was about financing. I mean, it's always a problem, right, guys? Nobody believes you. You go there with this fantastic plan, 79, pages, and when they finish, they're looking at you like, what the hell are you talking about here? You know, they don't even want to give you a dime. But one of the things that we did, and which is the partnership thing, was that we self-finance ourselves at every point in time. We do not have a single debt for all the things that we're doing outside our director's board. We have never taken a bank loan. Not that we didn't want to, but the banks just wouldn't give us the loan. But we'd never give taken a bank. They won't. Not 29% at all. So those are the two issues. And the way I resolved it was saying, look, what else could we trade for that money? So in some cases, I did barters. Legal work for payment, legal barters. Sometimes you get money from the law firm and you put it into the other place. But something has to give. You see, we all have something that we can give. It may not be cash, but we can give something that's valuable to somebody else and exchange it for something that's valuable to yourself. And that's how I resolve my issues.
Great. And a very important point he raised there was they were self-financing. You know, you can look for all the money in the world, but if you don't have any skin in the game yourself, it's going to be very, very difficult for anyone to take you seriously. So your personal finances, as separate from your business finances, is critical. You've got to keep them completely separate. Far too many entrepreneurs are dipping into their personal finances and their business finances and mixing it all up. It's so important that you keep those separate and build your personal finances separate from your business. Neku, could you tell us about
so I think I've had quite a few very challenges in different stages of my life, but I think that when I don't know what it's like in other African countries, but in Nigeria, there is a regulatory block for everything that you try to do. So I'll give an example. When I was a lot younger, I started a boutique hotel, and then we decided to do suya. And so we were doing quite well with suya, and then one day, you know, I come back, and there's quite a few malams sitting there looking very serious, and there's like a brochure this size, and on top of it, it says Suya Association of Nigeria. And so they had come to speak with me that I wasn't registered with the Suya Association of Nigeria, so how dare I make suya? So I'm like, what? And then they had a lawyer who refused to speak English, so I pretended not to speak Hausa. And he's just like, well, how you're making suya, you can't even speak Hausa? So I'm like, okay, so it's barbecued meat, it's not suya anymore. So they literally came and tried to close down the suya thing. And we had this with so many things. You have taxes with different things. One of our portfolio companies at the moment is a fintech company. You know, it's the amount of licenses and regulatory obstacles that they have to go through is absurd. You know, you go to Ghana or Kenya, and things like M-Pesa can work, mobile money can work, but you come to Nigeria, and it's either, okay, CBN wants to regulate it, or NCC says, oh, it's on the phones, so it's our thing. And so these cabals, it makes it so difficult in Nigeria, because it almost seems like there's somebody there trying to make everything extra difficult for you. And it means that the people that do survive, I think that once I meet, and I did that with sports, once I meet someone that, oh, I want to play on your team or etc., and you start just hearing uncertainties, I don't do it. Because in Nigeria, you have to be mental. Every time they kick you, you have to say, kick me again, please, I want more. Is that all you have? Like, you have to just be so strong. And so the people that survive, you find that every time you speak with them, you learn something, because they've been through so much, just the stories that you hear. So I think that with regulatory activities, everyone trying to do business in Nigeria, you're going to get that. You've seen the people that had their buildings got broken down in Lagos, no sense in that. And so you just have to, like, when that happens, you can't sit and think, oh, what do I do now? Start thinking about how you're going to solve it. Like, never let them win. And that's how you will come out of that. Yeah.
One more thing from each of you before we open up the floor. I want to talk about seizing opportunities. In Nigeria, for example, we're in a major recession right now. The great thing about recessions is that the greatest things happened from recession. So if you are one of those that is, if you hang around people that are, professing doom and gloom, you're going to miss out on every opportunity. You need to be very careful with your network, the people you hang out with. It's critical that there are people that motivate you, encourage you, and you can do great, great things. So can you tell us one opportunity each that you have seen that's apparent and that you would seize?
Okay, so I think the spiritual business is very, very... I'm just kidding.
It's so badly needed right now, isn't it?
I'm just kidding. Can we be serious, guys? Come on. To be honest, one of the opportunities I have is agriculture. Now,
I was going to say that.
About maybe 30, 40, I'm from Kaduna State. Kaduna has got probably some of the most, it's got maybe 1 million hectares of land or something like that, farmland, I think. Maybe I'm exaggerating. But many years ago, my father had bought a lot of land, thousands and thousands of hectares of land spread across. And he used to say, one day this farm will be valuable. And we used to say, this guy is just, what's he talking about? What's farming? Who farms? And then 2 years ago, it became apparent to me that agriculture actually does make sense. So I think there's an opportunity there, but not in the traditional sense. I'm not saying you guys take off these nice suits and these nice skirts and wear wrapper and go to the farm. I'm saying that there's a lot happening in agri-tech. There's a lot that's going on. And there's the whole value chain, which you can add value to. So think about, even think about this water we're talking about. There is an entry point in distilled pure in water. There's an entry point in organic food, for example. Just organic food. And then all that. So that is an opportunity, and I've already started. I've started planting maize, beans, and ginger. Next year, I'm going to expand to more poultry and etc. But because I think that we need to start small and scale it up. I believe that every business, and please note this, don't be in a hurry to start business with a lot of money. Be careful about that, because many companies have died because they took a lot of money. So typically I would say, let me go to the CBN or Agric Bank and give me 200 million naira because I want to kill agriculture. But I don't want agriculture to kill me. So it's smart to start off with a small scale and expand and grow your capacity.
So I'm going to agree with that, because Nigeria has been so oil dependent and we can see where that's got us. But I'm very pro-tech, and we're very interested in investing in agri-tech businesses, so companies that facilitate agriculture. There's a girl doing hydroponic farming, for example, and she's able to produce as much using just very little areas. So I think that any way that you can use tech to facilitate something that's quite already conventional is fascinating for us and is a great investment opportunity.
Now it's your turn to ask questions. You've got two incredible people here. Take advantage of it. How much time do we have for questions?
We don't have a lot of time. We'll just take 3 questions. But however, Audu and Neku have said they will stay with us for a short while after the panel discussion, so you can accost them and ask them questions, get their contact details, send them emails, call them, bother them with your questions. They've become mentors in the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program.
So, Charles, can you select the 3 people, please?
So before we start with the questions, I'm going to make you follow suit also. I'm going to give out my email. So if anyone has a question and we're not able to answer, feel free to send me an email. My email is neku, Neku, @meltwater.org. Meltwater is like meltwater.org. So email me, guys. Aldo, what's your email?
Okay, we need...
No, Charles, Aldo needs to tell us his email. Some aspiring musicians.
Just follow me on Twitter. My name is @Aldu. And then you get an automated message with my email.
No, I will give out his email address personally.
Give it up for...
Email me
Paminda.
and I'll reply you with Aldo's email.
It's actually aldu@chocolatecitygroup.com. It's very simple. aldu@chocolatecitygroup.com.
aldu@chocolatecity.com.
Why you saying?
Okay, we have one more hand. So we've gotten somebody from this.
I'm ready here.
One.
I'm ready here.
Okay, madam, please come. All right, so we don't have too much time, so please go ahead, ask your question.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chife Florence. I'm into Chin production. I want to ask, what can TEF do for young entrepreneurs like me to save us from people like NAFDAC? Thank you.
Sorry, the questions we're taking right now are for Neku and Aldo, so that we can get as much as we can out of them. But TEF, I'm sure, will answer. If you send an email to TEF, they'll respond.
But can I just quickly say to the Chin lady that you should network as much as you can, because you never know. There might be somebody here whose brother works at NAFDAC or friends. So network.
Sorry, while we're waiting for her, Paminda has also promised that she will take your case up. So come over, come and meet Paminda here. Come this way. Come and take her. She will definitely make sure this happens. Please, bring her. Thank you. Please clap for her. Encourage her as she comes.
Okay, I've given, so she'll come and meet you. I've given her an opportunity, but I'm going to have to decline. And she understands. She's Nigerian. The other gentleman is from Djibouti. I want another hand. Are you from Nigeria? No. We want from Uganda. Okay, so we'll give the opportunity to the guy from Uganda. And you can use the microphone here. So please go ahead and ask your question. Hold on just a second before you.
But you know, Chocolate City, these are 2016 Tony Lumulu entrepreneurs. They've been through a 12-week training program. Managing NAFTA is one of the things. They've learned skills and tools which are going to last them a lifetime, right? They've submitted business plans, yeah? They are now part of a network of 2,000 qualified entrepreneurs from the Tony Lumulu Entrepreneurship Program. And at the end of this boot camp, they will receive their first seed capital, which is proof of concept capital. So you have to match that, Chocolate City.
Okay, the gentleman from Djibouti.
Hello. Hello. Thank you. Firstly, I'm really happy to be here, member of TEF 2016. You know that I have a lot of questions I ask myself as entrepreneur, even I am 2 years in entrepreneurship. So I tried several times to do with different actions by different sectors. You know that when we say that failure is, I say that is a way of success. This is what I read in books. But you know that when it says by talking and saying that entrepreneurship needs patience, needs resistance, needs to be someone who is really strong. I thought the first time was strong like body physically. but I thought that it comes to the mindset. So as you realize your entrepreneurship journey and you are today a successful entrepreneurs, so my question is, when the freezing points come, I mean that when the difficulties come, how you just manage it, how you just work it by the mindset. I don't want by financial, I don't want all that stuff, but what I want to understand deeply is the mindset. What is your mindset that you just manage the problems you have in everyday life? Thank you very much.
Nikki, will you answer first?
So that's a really good question, and I think it kind of touches on what you said with just who you surround yourself with. I think that once I speak with negative people, they just completely have to go. But as a sports person or previous sports person, your mindset is so important. The mindset that you go in to a game with can literally be the make or break. And it's waking up every day, and no matter what's happening, being able to train your mind to have that. So I'm a Christian, and whatever religious beliefs people have, a lot of religions tell you that once you have a negative thought, or as they say, a demon enter your mind, literally pray it out. And like, you can't let negative thoughts foster in your mind. You have to completely let go of that. And so I think that's how like I've become I see everything with what's good first, and challenges as just, I'm gonna overcome this. And that's, I don't know if it's natural from playing sports for so long, but it's become a natural part of who I am.
Okay, I think it's actually, I'm glad you asked that question. Many people think that the life of an entrepreneur after a few years is champagne, you know, go for holidays, just chill, right? But the truth is that it doesn't get necessarily easier. The tasks get bigger, the problems become more scaled, but your mindset and your experience has taught you to deal with those things as they scale. Do you understand? So I can't sit down and tell you that right now I'm trying to raise money, right now. Parminda, I'm trying to raise money. So it doesn't mean that I'm not looking for, but it's just that the difference is that what I was looking for 10 years ago was maybe $1 million. Now I'm looking for $500 million. Do you understand? So you still need to do that. But the most important thing you need to understand is sometimes you put it in context. The question is, how bad can it get? What is the worst that can happen? You fail. So we've all failed before. So I think we need to also put in our minds that we can fail, and we're not devils because we failed. So we take that up. And then one thing I learned recently is that at the end of a very bad day, do something. When you go to bed, put up your phones, take a piece of paper and write down 5 things that went well for you that day. What that does is that it frames your mind to allow you to kind of sleep well that night. Because the next day you're going to be up, and those problems are going to be there. And if you don't have a clear mind, you're going to get worse and worse. Last piece of advice I want to give to is this. Build a team. It's very, very important. There's something that a team does for you when you're very low, that a team member can come up with one suggestion. It may be a silly comment that gives you a way out. That gives you an idea like, yeah, okay, why don't we do this? Yesterday, I had a big issue, and I called my top management team together, 4 of them, and I said, look, you guys need to solve this. I was bullying them because I didn't have the idea, I didn't have the answer myself. But guess what? When we finished, we came up with a solution that we were we've had this problem for over a year. So sometimes you need an extra head, somebody who's also invested in that, and that keeps the journey easier. Last thing, don't go home with your problems if you can avoid it. If you can. If you can, don't go home with your problems. Leave your wife at home, okay? Thank you.
Can I just add that while building a team, literally keep positivity as a number one. Like, it doesn't matter if it's the most amazing person, but if they come in and they see problems before solutions, those people that are just like, I can't believe the day, I don't know how we're going to go over it, like, do not hire those people because it's infectious. Like, they will do that, and before you know it, you're doing that, and then your whole team is doing that. So it doesn't matter how amazing they are. The first thing is make sure it's positive, infectiously positive people to get far. That's like so important.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Wow. It's my pleasure to speak today. I'm Isaac Rojandaula from Uganda. I love you all. You know, in my country, the most important thing we respect it is love. That's why Uganda is the pearl of Africa. Yes. I'm TEF 216, and I'm in the field of IT, but this time it is IT health. How can we transform health through IT? This is my call, whereby I came up with a solution which can interconnect the whole Africa through health. Currently, as I'm speaking, I'm a father. I have a child, she's 6 years, but she's autistic. In Uganda, I've tried all ways, I've spent money, but there is no way she can be helped. Because I can't reach a hospital in Nigeria where she can access this health facility. But let us focus it, since we are in a state of Pan-Africa. You're seeing that in all sectors. So we are looking at a solution at a state. As I'm here, I was traveling, I've got a problem. They've taken me to the hospital, maybe I have a heart problem. By the time they diagnose that I have a heart problem, I may be dead. But what if we have one solution which is running all these facilities? The way I was worked upon in Uganda, by the time I'm here, they realize my condition and automatically I'm helped. That is what we are looking at to here. And that's the reason why we came. Because the whole idea is transforming Africa. By the way, this is going to all of us in 2016. Maybe those in 2015, some of them did a mistake. Because I was expecting like 10 who are giving testimonies. But for us, it is going to be a mega testimony. Yes, this is it. It is real. It is going to be a mega testimony because we have the mind. That's why we came. And my main call here, as I was here, I just got a message. Because some of us from the time as we thank that you came to Uganda. You changed Uganda. Our president was speaking about them when he was swearing in. You changed his mind that today they are looking at us. Yeah, this is reality, what I'm talking about, people. Yes. I'm talking about reality. Yes. Today in Uganda, we have a minister this time who is heading ICT, who is a youth.
My brother,
yes, sir.
What is the question?
My question is, how can we narrow a gap in partnership? Yeah? Because currently when we started with TEF, automatically I started on working, and so far I have over 8 clients with that solution I'm talking about. But the challenge I'm facing, it is the partnership. You're getting me? That you brought some people on board to partner with.
I think, you know what we'll do?
Yes, sir.
You need to send us an email.
Okay.
So that we can actually articulate what you need to say.
Okay.
I think that's probably the best thing.
I appreciate it.
Well, Audrey's got to leave now. I'm sure you all join me in saying that we've had an incredible panel.
But, sorry, Uganda. Hello. You're at a Pan-African event, so this is the way to bring Africa closer. We're listening to a Ugandan ask us a question in Nigeria. So you are at the solution, and you should appreciate that.
And just one more thing I wanted to say to you all. Your health, I'm glad he brought up health. Entrepreneurs, they sometimes forget that aspect of their lives completely. It can get very intense. And if you don't focus on your exercise, diet, and health, it's very, very important. And of course, the financial aspects. You are the visionary. You're the one with the strategy. Many times, you don't stay close enough to the numbers. It is critical that you're close to the numbers. Even if you hire Einstein, you need to know your numbers. so that you don't have any surprises at the end of the day. But thank you so much for spending time with us and listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Audu. Thank you, Neku. And thank you, Nimi. Please, thank you. Please, before you go, one quick photograph with Nimi. You can flank Audu on both sides. Yes, thank you. A round of applause for our panelists and the moderator. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we'll give Nimi one. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if you were inspired listening to Audu and Neku, we're about to inspire you even further. Those who listened to him in 2015 would attest to that. Okay. Our next speaker is a facilitator, is a coach, is a change agent with over 20 years experience working with people, organizations, and communities. He's a qualified lawyer and holds an MSc in International Business Economics. He recently led a program to reduce the incidence of mass violence in Niger Delta region of Nigeria. He delivers leadership training for the African Leadership Center in Nairobi. He developed a framework for excellence in equality and diversity, an international framework for organizations engaging in complex challenges of equality and diversity. He's currently the country director for Senegos in Nigeria, an institute that is dedicated to developing effective, sustainable, and indigenous solutions to global poverty. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome for Mr. Adewale Ajadi. A round of applause for him.
Good afternoon. Well, it's great to see your beautiful faces. It's been quite a challenge trying to organize today. I hope to Almighty God that what I say to you will bless you, encourage you, and make you stronger in what you're trying to do. Let me be straight to the point, and I'm not going to speak for very long because I want to interact with you. My topic today is African talk. But, you know, all your life, you've probably heard talk is cheap. Right? Well, that's a lie. The most expensive thing you're ever going to engage in is what you say or what people say about you. Let me repeat that. The most expensive thing that you're ever going to engage is what you say about yourselves and what other people say about you. Those of you who are Christians or even Muslims will know that in the beginning there was the Word, right? So God first spoke forth the Word before it got manifested, right? Okay, thank you very much, my brother. So, talk is not cheap, right? It's very expensive. In the Yoruba language, there is a word that captures what I want to talk to you about. It's called afoshe. Right? Afoshe is the spirit of manifestation. As you say it, it proceeds. If you speak with authority to anything, it happens. If authority is spoken to you, it happens. The second thing I want to tell you is that your mouth is not a tool of expression. It's a tool of power. All your life, you are told to express yourself. But whatever proceeds from your mouth is a story you tell about your life. So I always talk to my Nigerian brothers, when you start complaining about your country and start projecting this problem, that problem, you are cursing your country. Watch what you say. We are watching an election in the United States where a man said something. He was a billionaire, he had money, or he's still probably a billionaire, millionaire, whatever he is. You understand? He said something, and the thing came out of nowhere to define him. You grab them by what? What does that really mean? When you say something, it becomes your position. You can't run away from it. It was recorded, you said it. Right? So, we're talking about what you say. Let's talk about what you say about yourself, the stories you tell about yourself. The stories you tell about yourself are about how you have defined yourself over time. How you have been defined by your education, your socialization, your experiences. What do you say about yourself as an African? What story do you tell of Africa? Are you inferior? Are you consumers? Are you producers? What are you? The unfortunate thing is that internally to us and externally into the world, we have projected inferiority. We constantly talk about how our continent is backward, how we have not achieved this or that. Am I wrong? So why is it a surprise when we say these things and it starts to manifest in how we see ourselves, how other people see us, and how our reality manifests? Is it time already? No. Okay. Okay. So, the challenge of what you say about yourself as an African. What do you say about yourself as an individual? Do you say about your problem, as they were talking about, or about the solution that you represent? So let me break this down very quickly because I have 15 minutes. It is the essence of who you are that you manifest in what you say. If you don't love yourself, you cannot say something good about yourself. And love is not an emotion, it's a practice. If you're an entrepreneur and you cannot project what you dream, guess what? You know what you are as an entrepreneur? You're a dream maker. That's what you are. You are working to manifest your dream right here on earth. So if you are not talking about the solution that you represent, but you're talking about the problem that you are concerned about, you have not mastered the love that has been created in you. Everybody has a unique journey. So if you look at last year, we were talking about Omoluabi. We were talking about character. Your character is framed by all of the following 7 things. How you view the world, Olaju, right? How you view yourself, Ojuinu, right? How you see your context, Ami. Right? How you behave expressing those things inside you. Iwa, lewa. No. I missed that. So I have to go back again. So I talked about Ojuinu. I talked about Olaju. I talked about Ojuinu. I talked about Ami. I talked about Iwa, lewa. Right? And I talked about, I'll come back to the 4th one. It's just disappeared somewhere. So I'll talk about the next one, which is Iwalewa, the congruent relationship between your values and how you behave. So we come to the powerful one, Afoshe. Afoshe is that manifestation. What you say is what is. Right? The challenge you have as an entrepreneur is to start to speak into the world. They call it in business planning your vision. Right? That vision doesn't mean you're not going to struggle to make it happen. But if you don't believe in that vision, if you don't express it enough, if you, as was suggested, if you go to bed without reminding yourself of that vision every day, every time. Telling your team that you have put together what that vision is when they forget, there's nothing that's going to happen. Right? So the work is in actually beginning to articulate that. That's where we get to what matters, which is Ire, the blessings, Ire, Oluwa, the blessings that come from all the things you do. And the most important thing in the stories you tell as you journey through this is in relation to this critical issue. And I don't want you to forget this. You can forget everything I've said, but I don't want you to forget this. What kind of ancestor do you want to be? Money is not what's going to answer that question. Money is a means to an end. It is not status that's going to answer that question. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you are African and you're not talking 100 years ahead of yourself in this world, what is going to happen to your children, your children's children, and your children's children's children, you have failed. Because you are living just for yourself. So the question is, what kind of ancestor do you want to be? If you think making money is going to change that dynamic, you're wrong. And I want to challenge anybody here to tell me in their country how many people are able to pass money from one generation to the other. How many people here are living on inheritance? I know this is not a popular view. You know, we live in, for example, in Nigeria, people talk about recession. Let me unpack what that means to us. When you talk about recession, when the talk of recession gets into your heart, ask yourself, what recession? The government is in recession because the government has been dependent on oil for years. How many times have you had oil in your house? %70 of our economy is informal. Who gathers the statistics about the people who are selling in the market? How do we know there's recession? If this country is yet to grow to the point where it meets the needs, the obvious needs in agriculture, obvious needs in digital technology, we need all of you. So the country is not in recession. We have a need for dreamers to step into the space and create solutions that create growth. So quite simply, what you say matters. What you believe comes from what you say. When you say it often enough, then it's also what other people start to believe about you. How many of you know what other people say about you? We have, in Africa, agreed that it's more important about what other people believe about us than what we believe of ourselves. We're doing a poor job of talking about the future we see. I'm hoping that you are going to be the representatives who are talking about the great African future. So I will end by saying, what kind of ancestor are you going to be? Thank you. I'm not sure if someone's going to take this, or someone asked me a question, or someone wants to say something. I still have 4 minutes on the clock, and I'd like to hear from you. Maybe I can leave this place with something else in my head that I'll be thinking about till we meet again. Anybody?
Thank you so much, sir. I just want to ask you that, what are the things that have shaped your belief about what some of the things you are saying? You are talking about our words and all that. What are the things that has changed you for you to be talking like this?
Yes, okay. Somebody else. I'd like to answer that one.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Francis Oyewole. And when you began to ask the question that how many persons have been able to pass wealth from one generation to another, I began to think of those that we've had in Nigeria, and I came to realize that actually none of them has. Those that did, probably those that came after them, wasted it off. But I want to ask what actually is the challenge so that we will not trade in their shoes. We will be different ancestors. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Omenwa Ranger, Nigeria, Anambra State precisely. Please, I want to ask question. The question is, I want to add, chip in something here. What I understand from everything you just said is about image making. It's about integrity. Okay. So, as an entrepreneur, for instance, taking ICT as an example, you have strategized your company in such a way that probably you have price tag for everything you do. For instance, somebody brings a system that is not displaying. Now, if your displaying problem is 10,000 naira or $10,000, whatever it may be in finance, what I want to ask is this: if the person comes to you and probably the system you want to use the 10,000 naira to repair for the person is just a minor thing, but it's not showing. But what you just need to do in the system is just a small thing to fix it up. What I want to ask, is it still right for you to collect the 10,000 naira from the person and fix that small thing, or is this still, because see, this has been a problem to our company. So that's why I have to ask the question. Thank you very much.
Okay, last person.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I'm Joseph Chukwebuka, Honorable from Nigeria. So you talk a lot about the words we say about Nigeria, Africa, and a business. But you see, I love to be a little bit realistic. Most times the things we say actually take time to come and pass. So it's a small business. I'm saying it's going to be a world-class business, world-class standard in the next 10 years. And for the next 2 years, I'm not seeing it. So what advice would you give to someone who probably has those kind of confessions and have limited realities? Thank you very much.
Okay, I don't want to, my brother, just 1 minute. Let me answer a couple so that I don't lose track of my thought. We'll take it. It won't take very long. You said what changed, right? Let me tell you something. The most important thing for you to understand is that divergent thinking is what God created you to do. If you think convergently, you lose it. If your views are views that everybody holds, you are in trouble because you have not found your own views. So conventional views actually ends up not helping you to look at things. I was an insider, outsider all my life. And throughout that process, I was comfortable with being different. But what is most important now, I can only talk about now because it's a long story. But what's important now is I became a grandfather the second time yesterday. You know? And so for me, my legacy for my children is the most critical thing. And it's not going to be about money. I teach my children that I'm going to leave my debts if possible. They will sort it out. But what is most important is that I will give them the best understanding of themselves that is conceivable. And that's the most important thing. So I hope that they will find themselves along the way, like you are finding yourself here today. And I hope you get the best out of it. The second person, wow, now I have to remember what the second person said. The second person was the computer person, right? So I'm hearing no yes. Oh, the ancestor. Okay, how do you become the ancestor? How do you hand over? The simple thing is that if you look at the countries where people are transferring wealth. Sorry, what was that? Did I say something? Okay, that's me. Okay. I'm losing something. Okay, The thing is that in countries where people have, in Africa, until European intervention, until we got involved in transatlantic slave trade, we were not prioritizing inanimate objects over animate objects. So it wasn't about the amount of money you had, but the quality of the relationships that you made. We were farmers. So we did not have a scarcity mentality, we had an abundance mentality. Your wealth is our wealth. What you do looks after the community. We are communitarians. If you don't go back to that, you destroy the very infrastructure of your social capital. If you think that you can be wealthy and 10 people around you are going to be poor, you are in trouble. Because then you become a bastard. You have to become a bastard to protect your money. But if you don't want to be that, which I don't want to be, if you have a love practice, you have to make sure that you create ways in which all the people around you are growing as you are growing. And that is the only kind of ancestor that matters. An ancestor that creates a legacy of not just being beneficial to themselves, but beneficial to their community and hopefully their country. Oga talked about computers, right? And what happens when you collect 10,000 naira that you have not earned because you have not given value for 10,000 naira? You don't want to curse yourself. You do not want to curse yourself. If you put any money above the integrity of your position, it does not translate into wealth for you. And somebody said something else? Have I that's all. Sorry? Okay, you said something. What did you say, sorry? Okay, when you get disappointed, and this young man, I'll take him last and I'll go. Okay? It's not just confessions. It takes a long time for things that are worthwhile to manifest. It's not going to happen overnight. I don't want to give you the illusion that because you are confessing it, it automatically works. But if you follow your belief with actions, the day your actions start to manifest, people are going to think it was just yesterday, but you have paid your dues. You have paid your dues. But if you deviate from that, then your words and your actions will start to conflict each other. Do you understand? You ask yourself this question. Why is it that it takes a long time to create great things? It's a simple issue. God, the universe is asking you, do you really want this? There's nowhere, there's no book of Revelation, Bible, Quran that says you are not going to battle. You're going to battle. That's going to happen. But if you stay the course, if you persevere with it, as been suggested to you, you will get there. You'll get there. And you'll be surprised how easy it was to get there in terms of your head. Is that all right? And let me take you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. I was challenged when you were saying some things, and I begin to understand some things about life. Then I now flash back to, I have a mentor then, and what he told me was that to succeed in life is more than integrity. Then I was bothered about it, and I would like probably to ask if you really supported that. And it was like, he made an instance with the present government we are facing now, that integrity was not really enough to pull us to where we're going to. Thank you, sir.
Okay, you know, what you just asked me is so profoundly important, but I don't have the time to break it down. But, you know, without integrity, what are you really? And I'm not talking about the kind of flashy kind of integrity you hear people talk about all the time. I'm talking about living your word. If your word, what you say, is alien to your action, you have no credibility at all. And without credibility, why should I buy something from you? If you say to me, I've packaged this thing, this is what is in it, why should I trust you? There's a book I wrote, I'm not going to plug it, but in that book, we found out when we were researching the book, about 85 to 90% of the US economy is driven by trust. When you use your credit card, it's trust. When you pay your insurance, it's trust. When you buy a product from the shop, you're not going to wear it in that moment, it's trust. So if you cannot be trusted, why should I put my wealth in your hands? I wish you all the best. Be great ancestors. God bless you all.
Okay, we're making steady progress. The day one of the second Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Forum. Now it's time for the sector-specific networking breakouts. We're going to have a number of breakout sessions. Some of them would happen in the hall here, some of them at a location outside of here. I'm being joined by the Director of Resources, Harris Holdings, Mrs. Owen Omojafo. A round of applause for her. She will take us through how each of the breakout sessions, what sectors we'll be looking at, who will be facilitating, and where that will take place. Owen.
So good evening, everyone. So this session is, sure you're wondering, breakout session. Someone asked me earlier today, we have something, a period for the entrepreneurs to exhibit? And I said, no, we have something that perhaps is better. I noticed in the room, a few of you wanted to ask more questions, right? You would have liked an opportunity to go close to the people, have a conversation, right? So that's what we are providing through this session. We're going to have people who have experience in various sectors that you all are in. We have some smaller groups so that they can talk to you and you can talk to them. It's really informal, nothing too, you just sit down in the room, the person will speak, then you ask questions, and you're asking questions about yourself. There was someone who talked about NAFDAC, right? Where was she? Yes, about NAFDAC. So you could say, okay, when I run through research, okay, this person may also have the NAFDAC concerns or issues. Let me go talk to them and say, how did you go about it with NAFDAC? And I know what you're talking about because the agribusiness, I remember we're trying to launch then. We had to go get NAFDAC, and it's really interesting the way you have to get NAFDAC permit for every single thing. If it's this big, you get NAFDAC. If it's that big, you get NAFDAC. So I understand your point. So without further ado, let me just read through the sectors and the people that will take them. Yeah. So we have agriculture sector to be taken by Dupe Olushola. And Dupe Olushola is the head of EMDO, our United Bank for Africa, PLC. She used to be the CEO for Terragro, which is the agribusiness for Transcorp. We have, for our creative industries and fashions, one of our panelists in the next session, Noella, has kindly agreed to take it. And so Noella is interesting. She's a model, ex-model, and very fashionable, so she'll be talking to you. We have healthcare and education in the same place because there's some linkage. We have Dr. Lillian Eko, who is the medical director for Avon Medical Services. Some of you had your blood pressure taken, right? Outside, you had some vitals, so that's the medical director. We have Barbara A. Simmons. Barbara? Yes, there's Barbara. Barbara is an associate professor with the William Taubman University, and she's come all the way from the United States just to meet you. Could you please clap for her? I'm sure we can do better. Let me put this well. She paid her way to come meet you. Thank you, Barbara. We really appreciate it. Not only that, she went on to write to a U.S. senator, a congressman, to say, Senator Coons, I'm going to Lagos, Nigeria to meet the Tony Elumelu entrepreneurs, and I'm paying my way. We have tourism and hospitality. Valentine Ozigbo, who is the CEO of Transcorp Hotels. And we have some hotels, Transcorp Calabar, there's a Transcorp Hilton in Abuja, and some other hotels that are coming up shortly. Then financial services, Kayode Fadamsi of United Capital. And, well, I understand that Kayode is still making his way here, but we have enough financial services people around. For ICT, can I get a shout out from the ICT people? Again. We have Austin Abolusoro. Austin is the head of IT for Airs Holdings. Now, remember the app we used to register, right? You know the app? You know the MLP and all those things? Austin, you all know Folarin. The person you don't know, the people you don't know Austin, you don't know Uwem, you don't know Dare. They are the people that work behind the scene. But Folarin, you know. Yeah. But let's shout out for Folarin again. Then we have our last group is manufacturing and energy, which is being taken by Muyiwa Akinyemi, who runs the corporate bank for UBA. So to my right here, I have these lovely people, right? So you heard all the session I just mentioned, right? So let's just quickly do this. Are you for agriculture? If you're interested in agriculture, please just stand up if you're interested in agriculture. Okay. Wow. So please, I'm going to try to do this in a very orderly manner. We have 45 minutes, including our moving time, because we need to catch up on time, right? So if you could just step out quietly, agriculture, and if it's Nachi, can you just go out to join them there? So this is the lady. Could you please just go out to join them? This is the lady that's going to lead you to the room for agriculture. So just go out with her quietly. Okay, thank you. Moving very quickly.
All right.
Quickly and quietly. Okay, right after creative industries. Where are you? Creative industries and fashion. Adeze, could you please come this way? If you are for creative industry and fashion, please just go out through this door. This is Adeze. She's the one that's going to take you. So Noella will go with you. Yeah. Creative industries and fashion. Join up with Adeze very quickly. Healthcare and education. Healthcare and education. You are in this room, so you don't have to move. ICT, you are also in this room. You don't have to move, but you just need to come a bit closer. ICT is in this room. Okay? Did we get that? Do I have anyone for tourism and hospitality? So hospitality, real estate, and all those, like tourism and hospitality. This gentleman in a beautiful orange tie. Sorry, if you don't know which sector, you could just sit down. When we're done, we'll take questions afterwards.
Later on, now we did something. Now, I will come with it. But
manufacturing and energy. Where's my dear lady? Manufacturing and energy. If you can just come this way very quickly.
She will get perfume now.
Mazi, who is taking manufacturing and energy? Okay. Manufacturing and energy, you're going with the lady in a beautiful red dress. Okay. Where are my financial services people? Financial services. This lady here in cream, if you could just come this way. The guy in orange shirt. Alex, are you still in the room? See, do you know what? Even if you've missed them, if you're not in this room here, you are in the next block. So you can just go to the dining hall where we had our beautiful meals, or just upstairs there. That's where we are. Okay? Yes, ma'am. ICT is here. Education will be this way. Yeah? Okay. Pardon? Waste management. Energy. Yes. Energy. Yes. Okay, wait, one at a time. Right? Okay, you can energy. Yeah? Okay. Join creatives and fashion. Creative industry. Media, advertising, creative industry. We just signed an MOU with the Ministry of Information. So that's why I'm very sure there's creative industry, because I know all the people that came there. No, feel free. No, see, you can also join a sector that you are interested in. You want to hear about it. It could be part of your value chain, right? I've attended to you so that you. Yeah. Where are you? Manufacturing and energy. No, you're in the next block, the dining hall block. One at a time. Yes, ma'am. Waste management, join manufacturing and energy. So just go with that. Food processing, join manufacturing and energy. Wait, hold on. Professional service, which launching, join manufacturing and energy. No, you just came, let me attend to this. It's out here. Okay? Logistics, what side of logistics? Shipping. I think for shipping, my suggestion would be that you join tourism and hospitality than hospitality. What does that mean? What's your product? Supply. Supply. Why don't you join financial services? Join financial services. So financial services is here. Okay, so this is the lady. So if you've been sorted, please move to the right so that I will know who is left. Okay? Join hospitality. Yeah. Healthcare. There is healthcare. Healthcare is right here. Healthcare, look, healthcare right there. What field of business consulting? Financial services, that's this lady here. Join creative. Either you can decide to join manufacturing or you join creative. Yeah? So you have two options. Yeah? Media and creative. They are in the room over there. Try the dining hall. If it's not the dining hall, just ask, you'll be directed. Yeah? Okay. Okay, manufacturing. Join manufacturing and energy. Yeah? Yes. What? Join education. So, which commercial? Huh? Join manufacturing and energy. Yeah? Healthcare. Where's healthcare? Healthcare, where are you moving to? Okay, they're up there. Healthcare is up there. Education, join healthcare. The people over there, they're together. What? The lady there, there's a lady up there in red. There's a lady up there in red. She has the brief. I can't hear you. The light. Okay. Oh, thank you. So you are. Are we all settled? Any other question? Has Noella gone out? No, even I can't see your voice. I can't see your voice.
What do we do now? Let's remove this. See? Where did you get it from? It fell? Which one? On the floor. How did you get there? See, remove this. See, sir. It's fine. You take it out. Take it out.
Okay, it's not going to come out.
You can hear me from here because there are other people that will talk to you, so I can't say it. Let me talk from here. Okay, let me speak from here. So, pardon? Try and listen, okay? Try and listen. All right. So we're looking at information technology. Importance of
innovation team and connectivity. To all Microsoft volunteering programs. It means you can